Welcome to the Cheat Day Show. I am joined today by actor, comedian, author, Renaissance man, Gianmarco Soresi. John.
I love that. You can't call yourself one, but if someone calls you a Renaissance man, that's okay.
I don't know. I was really excited about today's interview because you're a very interesting performer.
Thank you.
Hard to nail down. Not, you know what I mean? I feel like I've been around comedy for long enough that I have a good read on who people are and what they're looking for and what their belief is with comedy and entertainment. Like, I can't nail you down at all.
Well, that's very kind. That's very kind. I'm a chameleon.
Well, you don't even know if that was a compliment.
I know, me neither. I think it's
But I'm saying I don't like you, John.
No, listen, I know
that be
that.
the best podcast? I just brought you here to yell at you and tell you why I was upset with you.
Give me food poisoning. Yes. I know how it goes.
So before I jump into my questions, I was just thinking about you today, and I first was aware of you when you were working, I guess, for Gotham Comedy Club, Andy Engel. It's a good story. You don't know the story. I know the story.
I've just been talking about those days with a friend recently.
I don't remember what year it was, but I do remember that...
pre-COVID.
Yes, it was absolutely pre-COVID, and I was doing one of Andy's shows, and I saw you hosting, and I knew your name was Gianmarco, so I called Andy, and I don't know what we were talking about, but I was like, hey, for some reason, I was like, is Gianmarco like a foreign guy or something like that? I was like, how do you know him or whatever? And immediately, like, it's Andy. Andy was just like, why? What'd he do? It's like, he didn't do anything. It was great. I watched him, and I was just curious who this host was.
Yeah.
And no, Gianmarco is American and a great comedian who, where did he come from, John?
I come from Maryland, Potomac, Maryland. Mom's Jewish, dad's a little bit Italian, and he played it up.
I was going to say that first name is just a smidge Italian.
I used to think, he really lied to me. He made me think I was 100% Italian, and I gradually had to learn as I grew up and met real Italians.
Yeah, they went with Gianmarco because the name lasagna was taken.
Mm-hmm. Was being Italian a thing in your school?
No, it was pretty white, pretty just dull, plain vanilla. So my little bit of Italian really shone through. You know, I was getting discriminated against for my mild Italian heritage. But my dad said, he speaking of food, he said, like, we have this thing called Soresi sauce. Like, it's a legendary sauce passed through generations. And one day I found out it was just like ragu with butter and some kind of cinnamon. And that was it.
Now, did you go to a private school?
Yeah. Private school, baby.
Yeah, I just lost all my... Can you guys still hear?
No, it vanished for me.
Gotcha. I'm on it. I know what it is. Don't worry about it. No, I got it.
Yeah, you got it.
We're back.
That was a plug. Very high-tech operation over here. Okay. We spent all the money on the food. So, yeah, you definitely have a educated vibe about you.
Do I?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you sit up straight.
It cost a lot of money.
Like some teachers beat you so you had good posture. Like, it reads on you like, this guy came from some money. Plus, I know your parents were divorced a bunch.
My parents are divorced, both twice.
Twice. See, that's money. You know what kind of money you have to be like, oh, God, I can afford to lose half of my half.
Yeah. That's what the like divorced rich people to be like, when you get divorced, take all your assets, divide it in two, and then give half of that to the lawyer. Like they know it deeply. So yeah, they're doing pretty well given they have an eighth of their original income.
Well, yeah. So basically, I just felt like you came from an educated background, like someone had put time and energy into it. And yeah, it's a good thing. It's a compliment.
And now I'm a comedian.
So interesting. Like the first heartbreak must have been when you were like, I'm going to be an actor.
They were. I think they were pretty supportive. I don't know what they were thinking really. I went to college for musical theater.
I know.
Which I had a little bit of a scholarship, but look, we're looking at a $140,000 bill at the end of the day.
What do they do?
My dad, so he used to do oil cleanup. Like, where there used to be big oil spills in the ocean, and my dad would bid to clean it up. It used to be great. He retired in his 40s. We had a Ferrari. We were coming to New York, going to the Plaza, Four Seasons. And then he put all his money, the dot-com bubble bursting really affected.
Oh, no.
He put it all in, so we had to go back to work. Now he does scrap metal recycling. He's one of these guys. It's a similar strain with me. He has 20 different companies, 20 different logos. Only two of them are in operation.
So wait, scrap metal. So he fell down the ladder to mafia. He didn't start in the mafia. He had to show up there and be like, "Hey, the name's Soresi. Things are tough. Can I?"
He'd always tell me like mafia isms where he'd be like, "Son, don't ever go against the family. Son, don't ever get in bed with the mob." And I'm like, "Dad, we don't know anybody in the mob. What are you talking about?" So he's doing fine, but he wanted to be just really rich, and now he just works 24/7.
All right. Well, is he married again?
No, last I checked, he had a girlfriend who was younger than me. I don't know if they're still together or whether she got too old.
How do you not know if they're still together?
We got a tough relationship, my dad and I. It's more this, and this is something my mom dates too.
By the way, must be a huge hit around the fucking scrap metal yard when he's like, "My kid, musical theater."
Yeah, he loves it. I don't know. I think adults, they get to an age where, like, whenever they have a fight, they say, my dad would always be like...
I was just saying that. Yeah, I was just telling you to lean back a little, that's all.
I feel like the reason I stopped paying attention to my dad is he, every time he called, he's like, "We broke up." And then the next phone call, he'd talk about them being together without referencing that they had gone back together. So I just gave up. I said, he's acting like a high schooler. He's with them. He's broken up. He's with someone new. He's broken up. I can't keep track. I'll wait for Thanksgiving. I'll learn her name, and then we'll get to the end of the meal. And I might never see her again, and that's okay. That's life. It's always changing.
Wait until you have to call the younger girl mom.
Sure. With step-parents, I always called them by, like, I have a stepfather, and I just called him Bill growing up because I want him to know he was replaceable.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. He didn't like me either.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine why.
Sure. I look like the last guy that fucked his wife, so.
Oh, boy.
What are you going to do?
Well, both parents, so your dad's dating younger, your mother's remarried still?
No, they got divorced. So my mom married my dad's former lawyer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was part of the settlement.
Are you sure this isn't a reality show?
Well, listen, I'm trying to make it into all sorts of TVs and movies.
This is a sitcom. I mean, it's one of those bad sitcoms where I was like, "What are you so upset about?"
Yeah. And
I get 1/3. Ba-dum-bum.
So she's dating again. But I think she doesn't like dating. She's not like a cougar. She's not into, like, younger guys.
Okay.
But I think the guys her age and older are, like, a little too old for her now. So she's figuring it out.
Okay. So obviously you had I don't want to say traumatic, but you had a challenging childhood.
Yeah, I wouldn't say traumatic. I'd say, like, depressing, clinically depressed.
Oh, I saw the goth photos. Yeah. That did not scream.
Yeah.
He was
Definitely a
goth.
child that leads to the theater school.
To be fair, I became, like, goth because I was at a summer camp, and the goth women at this camp, you can't say slutty anymore, but they were empowered. You know, they were very empowered. And, like, I remember this goth guy. I was alone on some camp event, and he said, "Hey, this is Mallory. You two should make out." And she was like, "Sure." And I was like, I am goth now. If this is how it works, I am goth forever. So I enjoyed that phase.
You looked good in eyeliner. I want to see you bring it back.
Eyeliner looks really great. I think eyeliner on men, if I could get away with that.
Look, I say this with admiration. Fucking actors. They fucking
eyeliner on
love.
men looks so good. I'd love to wear it fully. Now I'm a comedian, I'd get too much shit for it, so I can't.
Well, all right. So what I find most fascinating about you is scholarship, musical theater. So that's no joke. You have talent. Like you have ability.
Ability.
It's not like you were just some lost kid that was like, "I'm an actor." Like you had training and skill and ability enough so that people spent money on you to go to this school, or the school gave you money.
Sure.
This speaks to effort and work and.
Yeah, I think I have stage presence. I have a degree of charisma. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a great singer, and I spent most of my college in a practice room doing scales over and over again. And after 4 years, I was like, I'm not getting better. And when you go to New York and you realize the talent in singing, it is a brutal wake-up call. Because I kept cracking. I wanted to be a tenor, and cracking where your voice goes, and like. Bombing doesn't hold a candle to singing an intense ballad on stage and cracking and suddenly becoming Tarzan in the middle of an emotional, epic song. Nothing compares to that embarrassment. And so I did one big show in college. It was Carousel. There's a song called Soliloquy. It's a manly man. I shouldn't have played the part. Manly man singing about his daughter and how he's going to protect her. And at the end he goes, I'll go out and make it or steal it. And I went, or take it, in front of like 400 people. And when I went backstage, no one could make eye contact with me. There was no way to say, tough crowd. It was all me. And those moments, I had enough of them that I said, fuck this. I'm out. I'm becoming a comedian.
Did you go right to comedian, or were you like, I'm going to be an actor?
I was an actor. I went to an acting program in Philly, and I was like, I'm going to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis. And again, I think I'm a fine actor. I don't think I'm a masterful actor. And I also realized that's not what I wanted. You know, Philip Seymour Hoffman, who I loved, he did Long Day's Journey into the Night, a 4-hour Eugene O'Neill play. And I was like, if my life goes according to plan, I would be doing that on Broadway. I would be doing a Long Day's Journey into the Night twice on a Saturday. And I was like, I don't want to do that emotionally. And then one day I wrote a play where I talked to the audience. Everyone's feedback was like, we really liked that part, not the other part. And I had a friend who was like, you need to really do stand-up comedy. And I just went I just became addicted. I need the feedback. It's not, sometimes I'm like, is it stand-up or is it because I'm addicted and I like to craft with constant feedback? And that's what you get with stand-up.
So I don't feel you fall into this category, which is why I wanted to talk to you about this. Yeah. As comedians, we're usually kind of skeptical of actors that do comedy.
Sure.
Because a lot of actors will go to comedy and be like, I'll just do it for the weekend and put it on my resume. Like they don't consider it a full-time craft. They consider it an added skill. Like I have a license and I do stand-up comedy. Like the skills thing on the bottom of the resume where it's like, I could drive a car, I could ride a horse, I could do stand-up. Like they just add it on without actually putting the work in. And I don't consider you that at all.
And I was that for a couple of years, and like I don't even count them really as when I started stand-up because I would do one bringer show every 4 months. I hate that now, but I do think comics complain about that, and then no one holds the comic to account when they join a sitcom and are the worst fucking actor on that sitcom of all time. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of comics who then, like, the moment they can start acting, they do it full time, and you want to be like, well, hey, guess what? This is also a craft.
Well, yeah, no, usually the guys I know that get those opportunities usually hire acting teachers and like start, like they really try
Some of the actors try to do that with stand-up too.
Yeah.
You can't, listen, there's some talented ones that have made it, but a lot of them, they try to cram an acting training, and it's just a lesson of we're both in tenuous art. Actors and comedians are both in tenuous art forms that are hard to define, that people dabble in. Shaquille O'Neal has done stand-up and acting. That's crazy. But I
think the exception of the rule is T.I. What a blessing that he stopped spitting rhymes and picked up some punchlines.
Yeah, T.I. does that. Ice-T, is in the longest running actor franchise of all time.
So he was bragging about his money the other day. He was because the residuals.
Yeah. Oh.
So the residuals he gets from TV as opposed to film are insane.
But I think there's a lot of actors who do that because their agents say, do a stand-up show. That's a good way to get seen. It's a cool talent. But I think both of us have to respect the fact that we're in art forms that don't get respect and do require a lot of skill and are often overlooked as to how hard they actually are.
Well, stand-up's a low art. I feel like acting gets more respect. Comedy's,
Stand-up is a low art until it becomes like the most respected thing of all time. It's kind of crazy. Those superstars like Chappelle or Louis or Chris Rock.
They're like philosopher kings.
Yeah. And then below them, everything below them is like
trash.
Yeah. And then it's So there's a weird thing with stand up with
Acting's
that.
kind of the same way though, because it's like, we've met a million actors who don't have any credits or have like one or two and it's not like their friends and family are like looking at them as higher than someone who's like got addicted to stand-up last month. It's kind of the same. If
People
anything,
as an insult always be like, who are you? And it's like, do you really think that that's an indicator of... There's genius actors doing regional Shakespeare in Missouri.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a crazy thing in this world where the top 1% becomes, more and more isolated to think that anyone below it is talentless.
So do you know Billy Gardell? Mike and Molly. Yes. So Billy's a friend of mine. He's very into acting. And whenever he's in New York, takes me to Broadway. And, so I'm watching these Broadway plays and I'm like, they're great actors. And I'm like, oh my God, these guys are acting every day at 3:00, hoping someone puts them in a sitcom.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard.
And it's
like,
brutal.
Oh.
Like in London, they always say their Hollywood and their Broadway is in the same place. So like their theater actors have a chance to make money, have a career. But here it's brutal. It is brutal. You'll see an actor win a Tony Award, and it's like their agent is probably like, great, now we can get you on Law and Order.
Yeah.
Now that you're at the highest of theater, there's just a split.
So I'm not as versed as you are, but what is it when you win? I think it's like, is it 3 Tonys or 3?
So are you talking about the EGOT?
Is that what it is?
Their EGOT is Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, which like
each.
only a couple people have gotten. I think Whoopi.
Yeah.
Or more than one Tony, maybe that's it?
More than one Tony. I don't know what they call that.
So there was a film called This Way Up.
I haven't seen that one.
Well, I bumped into one of your friends at the premiere.
Oh.
You're
Right.
known everywhere, by the way. Like, it's
thank God.
crazy. Like, I mean, all right, so I'm in a very actor-filled environment, so for them to know you, that makes a lot of sense. I've gone out with girls, and they've been like, do you know Gianmarco Soresi? I'm like, yes, but this is not the right time to talk about him.
God. I became.
I've known you forever, but
I know.
everyone I know knows you.
We go way back.
Yeah, that's actually rare for this show. Usually, it's someone Ryan goes back with, and no one's allowed to do any research. And now I'm funny. I'm hearing
That's a rumor that was not created by me. I didn't want a conversation before the.
Sure. But we go back to.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I met you when you were producing like stand-up shows in like a storage closet of the Pit Improv Theater on 24th Street.
The Pit Attic.
Yeah, the Pit Attic, and it was one of those things because there's so much. I mean, there was plenty of stand-up there, but it was a lot more theater kids, acting kids type of thing, dabbling in stand-up. And you stood out right away, like, to everyone. Like, because I remember I'd hear you get on podcasts I would listen to. I remember when you were on Let's Talk About Sets. I feel like I got to know your backstory a lot from that one. And even then, they were like, wait, you just started? What the fuck?
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, have you read his bio? Like, the only thing I got from his bio is, he never wants a family. Like, he's in an improv troupe. He's in a sketch troupe. He's writing a screenplay. He's performing every night. I'm like, he's never gonna have kids. That's it's brutal. I read that. I mean, it's great, but I was like, God.
I know.
Now, and the funny part is like, obviously when you read people's bios, you think there's some fluff there. I see him working on this shit every night. Every night. Him and his dumb tea. He parks himself in a corner with his computer. Ugh.
And then I'll talk to people producing with him, and they're like, yeah, he doesn't stop. He's just always grinding. And I'm like, I've seen it now from when I entered this space, probably around the same time you did. That really is what matters. You know, that's who separated from the pack, the people who grinded and put the effort in. Like,
but there's always a reason.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he could have put it in cruise control a couple of times. He's not. There is a deep thing inside of him that is demanding attention because he was not getting it, or
My
he
girlfriend's
feels.
working on it. She's working on that cruise control button. We're going to Cancun in December.
That seems very much not like you.
That's the time to go.
It's definitely her idea trip, and it's I think like vacations are. For me, it's like the tests of our relationship. So we have to okay, how much work am I doing? What do we do? We went to Vegas. I did the celebration.
I was like, dude, you're not a Vegas guy at all. So just so you know, Gianmarco, in my opinion, is like if LA lifestyle was a person. That's John. You know what I mean? Like, he eats very clean. He does a lot of hiking. Oh God, I don't know why I saw it, but like you went to some meditation vacation.
Tova and I went to. That was Tova. It was like her spa retreat meditation thing.
I read that stuff. It makes me furious. I don't know. I'm like, who goes to a meditation retreat?
The food was good there. So yeah, she's helping me find a little bit of balance. Thank God. I need some.
You were full throttle, man.
Sure. Well, she's out of town right now, so I'm back. I'm working.
Or back to your old ways.
Yeah.
He's one of the rare few that comes in here, and it really I don't see him. I'm sure you're excited when you see bigger comedians, but you don't really. You kind of just sit down and start cranking out scripts.
I think it's cool. It's cool seeing bigger comedians until they bump me, and then I go, you know what? I'm over this shit.
Yeah,
I'm done. So I still like The comedians who would really make me at this point, like it would be Anthony Jeselnik, who's one of my idols.
He's in my movie.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. Ugh.
I've been around a long time, man. I know everybody's secrets. They owe me.
Jeselnik or Mulaney. I've never met Mulaney.
Nice guy.
And those two, yeah. But once you see someone once, it's pretty shocking. I remember the first time Chris Rock was here, and I ran to the room to watch. And then the second time, you're like, all right. It's just like people become human in comedy really fast.
Well, that's what they want too. They don't want to be around fanboys. They want to be around people who just like see the person.
Yeah. Sometimes some people, they just don't want you to talk to them. Period. Yeah. And you go, okay, that's your style. That's fine. I understand.
I mean, there might be a few. I don't know. I wouldn't say too many. Maybe not here.
I just think it's more. I'm sure they've had a lot of people who look like me, young, up and coming white comics.
That was also one of my questions. I feel like you're a tall, handsome guy. He's in good shape. I feel like these things are going to hurt you in the comedy community. I feel like
you enunciate every syllable.
I know. No, that's fine. I just imagine like some famous comedians, they've seen me come up to them before, and the first thing they say is, I'd love to open for you sometime.
Oh, yeah.
So I understand why there's a degree of like, let's keep this cordial. But yeah, whatever, the marketplace. Listen, being whatever I am certainly doesn't hurt in the touring department.
Yeah.
Touring is still very much back in the days where you see their lineups and you go, oh, wow, I guess diversity has not hit this particular part of Oklahoma City yet. And, you work where you're wanted and where you're not, you just figure out different ways.
I guess so. I mean, that another question I would have is a person with such a varied background, what do you actually want? And I like to ask this question. So, like, the comedy gods come down and they go, all right, what do you want, man? Is it a movie? Is it a TV show? Do you want to be on Broadway? What do you want? And not 12 things. Like, you get one choice here. What do you want?
For me, it's stand-up.
Just straight stand-up. Still?
It's straight stand-up. I love it. I love it so much. I look at, like, people like Norman, and I ask myself, like, if I was doing 3 headlining shows Friday and 3 headlining shows Saturday and 2 Sunday, would I be tired of it? And I don't know the answer because I haven't done that. But I definitely want to taste that.
Yeah.
I want to taste that.
Yeah.
Because when I do well in stand-up, nothing makes me feel better.
And that tracks. Gianmarco was like opted out. Like you were you were in every sketch for Uncle Function when they were headlining.
My sketch team, Uncle Function.
Yeah.
No, I read the bio.
Yeah.
It was at UCB, and then UCB closed.
Oh my God, it's brutal. No, I'm addicted to stand-up. But even then, you were just like so focused on stand. Because I remember I was in tech with you guys, and you're like, yeah, I got spots though. Like you're like, people have asked. I'm working on the TV pitch and the movie pitch, but it's hard because I'll be working on that, and then I'll see. God, I saw Shane Gillis at the VU, and it was so astounding. I went, fuck, and I'm just like, gotta go back to stand up. Fuck this movie. Who gives a fuck about this movie?
He's also another guy who's his sketch stuff online.
Amazing,
fantastic. And every time I see one, I'm like, man, NBC must be kicking themselves. Like that is
for sure. It was a real missed opportunity just to like make the show different, to change it, to really shake it up. He's astounding. Yeah. He's astounding. That set at the VU really fucked me up.
He's an accomplished person too, though, as well. He went to West Point. Like we're not.
Yeah.
These are not the people that succeed for a reason. There's no whoopsies. Yeah, he works very hard, and he's very talented. But as are you.
Thank you.
This is your cheat day.
This is my cheat day.
It's your cheat day. So stand up, yes, and things obviously, given the way things are now, would you eat, because you put a lot of time into everything you do, would you spend time trying to develop a pitch for TV?
Yeah, I think I'm like working on my fucked up family, living with my single mom who's dating pitch, figuring that out. So I'll do it. But I think like I want it to be a vehicle for my comedic ideas, and I wouldn't be interested in like writing something that doesn't include me, or is some high concept piece. I want it to be a place where I can filter my comedic ideas.
No, that makes sense. I mean, you want to put the effort in, but you want to get something out of it as well. Obviously, and things are. You've obviously generated your own audience.
Yeah.
To some degree, yeah.
I'm doing the social media game so hard, and it's a tenuous game because it's wild how I will have a video that gets 500,000 likes, and then I go to McKinney, Texas, which is near Dallas, and there's 10 people at the Friday night show, and you go like, how the fuck do I connect these two worlds? And we're all figuring that out. I mean, there are people with big social media followings that it does translate. We were talking the other day, TikTok fans don't really translate, but YouTube fans translate a little more. So I'm figuring it out. But it's gradual, which isn't the worst thing in the world to gradually build a base. You get to figure it out. I think sudden fame can be scary.
Yeah.
You can have a fan base that is confusing, like, whoa, why is this contingency coming out? This isn't necessarily the audience my art is specified for. I was really interested to see the Try Guys, the Try Guys, they had their whole incident online. Part of the reason it was such a big thing is they found their one video resonated with women ages, 20 to 40. So their brand became we're the non-toxic guys. And ultimately it comes to bite them in the ass because one of their guys cheats and it is the end of the world because they have built their whole brand specifically on women of a certain age and who see them as non-toxic men, and then their whole image counters that. I think that's honestly the solution to a lot of quote unquote, can I be canceled or not? It's well, did you build a fan base that loves you for you?
When they stop buying, when they stop spending money.
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about Shane. His controversy just led to his fan base being just ardent comedy nerds. Because eventually, a bunch of assholes filtered in. I'm sure a lot of them are still there. But
sure.
The comments don't look like they did 2 years ago.
Of course.
Of
course.
They get bored because they don't care.
And
he's not that's not the art he was making in the first place. He was making
Ariel Elias, who opened for me and went viral because she had this confrontation with a Trump person.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be some real liberal Democrat who are tweeting every day about how Trump is this orange monster or whatever. And Ariel's a dark comedian. Ariel has some dark jokes that I'm sure will rub them the wrong way. And it's gonna it'll take just calibrating. But I'm sure some people love her and would love nothing more than to go and watch her shit on Republicans for an hour. And that's not what she does.
But I mean, I know that's not what she does, but I mean, she's also, those are jokes.
Yeah.
She's a very gracious, kind person that would pretty much sit down with anyone. I can't,
Oh, for sure.
I know her husband. She doesn't draw a hard line. There are some people that are what are you? I can't talk to you. You can't be my Facebook friend if those are your views. But she's not that at all.
Yeah.
I guess getting a beer thrown at you might influence that opinion a little bit.
Sure.
What's your worst moment on stage? Anything ever like that happen to you?
I mean, God, something happened the other day.
What happens at musical theater?
I worked at LOL. I still do LOL.
You still do LOL?
It's my open mic,
Okay, so for those of you that aren't aware, LOL's in Times Square. It was formerly Ha Comedy Club, which was just a garbage comedy club, and someone looked around and was like, we can make it worse. And now it's LOL. I've never worked LOL, but I am fascinated by their on-call system of
well, it's
open
gotten
spots.
even worse. So it was in Times Square, and they had 3 rooms, and that's how I started. I did every check spot there, 90% check spots for my first year into comedy.
Sure.
Which for me was great.
Terrific.
I was doing 4 spots, 6 spots, hard but packed audiences.
Yeah.
Comedy steroids.
Hostel shows and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And then basically they lost that lease, so they moved to the owner's gay bar, which is on 48th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue.
Yeah, that was just for you, that invitation. Hey, the club's in my apartment now, so just let yourself in.
I don't know what I imagined in my head, but I don't know a gay man who would set foot in this building. I mean, this was it was just LOL, but Lil Nas X was playing on the TV screen. It was, and I openly share it because I think there's a mutual no respect. I don't get paid for most of my spots there, but I had an incident the other week where there was a woman talking brutally, and then at some point she just said, waiter, mid-set. And waved him down. I think I made some hacky joke about it looked like she was making a Heil Hitler. And then she looked me right in the eye and did a Heil Hitler full on. And then her husband I roasted her, and her husband, who was very old, who couldn't hear, was like, we don't pay you to make fun of us. And I said, I'm not getting paid for this spot. And he said, I don't believe you. So I yelled to the bar. I said, guys, am I getting paid for this spot? And they're like, no. And then eventually he left. And as he left, he was like, you're an anti-Semite. You're an anti-Semite. And I was like, I'm Jewish. What do you mean? And he goes, you're weird. You're weird. And then he left. And even though it was a show for nobody and it has no professional impact on me, there are moments like that. I've gotten a lot of weird anti-Semitic 3 shows in the South. I said I'm Jewish. Someone in the audience went, ugh. And there's something about when you're a comic, you do feel like you're taking the temperature of the country because you're just in a lot of spaces. And you see what people are comfortable doing. Mm-hmm. In a performance space. And there is a feeling I can't help but where I'm like, feels like we're all getting real comfortable with the Jewish roasting right now.
Look, I thought, I did colleges for 10 years, but you go to all those places, Oklahoma and Nebraska, and you spend time there. I think it was actually a huge benefit because you actually get to see how people live. And they're pretty poor. It's pretty poor out there. Yeah. I don't know if you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. This is why I think ultimately comic forces you to be a super political comedian is strange only because you see the whole country and you understand. I know comics, this was before I was doing comedy really, but they were like, oh, we knew Trump was going to win. We knew Trump was going to win.
So just to bring it back to food, or at least start on it, is that the punchline of McDonald's is a punchline. It's garbage food, it's clown food. You hear that over and over again, but if you go to these places that don't have a good economy, McDonald's is jammed. It's jammed. It's where people bring their kids on Saturday and Sunday because it's cheap and they can afford it. And yeah, we'd all love, the fresh kale salad, but it's more expensive than a cheeseburger.
I say, I have a joke on stage right now where I was in Royal Oak at the Comedy Castle, and I asked the owner of the club, I was like, hey, is there a good place to get a salad around here? And he was like, it's a pretty liberal area. And I was like, food shouldn't have political affiliation.
Sounds expensive.
Does. Yeah.
It's fresh. It's lettuce, almonds. These things are
it's not filling, so you need more.
But they're also water hungry crops. They're expensive crops. Uh-huh. So I'm sorry, McDonald's nailed it. They're going with cheap meat, and it's affordable.
Yeah, keep it going.
They're going to start doing pizza, I heard. And once it's over. Yeah. It's McDonald's everywhere.
I think you just stuff an oven in there. That's the thing is whatever they roll out, they just have to roll out to a million kitchens.
And look, if we're talking about entertainment, we're talking about politics. Trump ate McDonald's. Like that. How many people were like, hey, I eat McDonald's?
Liberals make fun of that picture of him amidst all the fast food. And there is a part of me that I'm like, I bet it was a delicious meal.
Yeah. I've been to that Super Bowl party. I'm like, I know exactly what that is.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll tear that up.
Yeah. So, but what's your daily diet like? What do you do?
Very healthy leaning. I omelet all the time. Ever since my doctor cleared me to eat as many eggs as I wanted, I'm
like, were you allergic to eggs?
I had a little bit of high good cholesterol, and then they said
who would
it's
even
fine.
know that?
I know, right?
Oh God!
What do they measure? What do you?
No, but he's going to his doctor regularly. That's what that means. Like,
yeah.
Plug you in.
So I eat omelet with veggies. I have 1 bag of baby carrots a day. I've just always loved carrots. It's weird.
Our chef was like, "What's wrong with this guy?"
I was fed them a lot. I was fed them a lot as a baby. I think that's what it is. So much so my mom had to stop because when you're a baby, my skin was turning slightly orange. Whatever the orange chemical in carrots is, when you're a baby, it does get you orange. So I eat a lot of unsalted almonds, unsalted cashews. My girlfriend hates me for all this shit. She likes some sugary food. No sugar for me. Wow. No sugar. And luckily, my sweet tooth decreased. Once I took it out of my coffee, it's all too sweet for me.
You drink coffee. I would not have guessed that. I would have guessed that you were like, caffeine's bad.
No, coffee is.
Any cream or dairy in your coffee?
I'm doing a little bit of oat milk, a little bit of dab, but I always tell myself I got to go black.
Yeah,
I got to go black.
But I keep getting either oat or whole.
I do black because I just don't have the patience.
Yeah,
I'm just like I don't care. I don't care what it tastes like. Just give it to me.
I'm never ordering French fries. French fries for me,
get out.
Or McDonald's.
Get out.
If something big happens, when I make my late night debut, that'll be the night I have that meal. So we got 5 or 6 more years before I have French fries ever again.
I don't know. You're probably in people's. Are you working on something for someone?
There was one thing, and then You know how it goes.
Oh, God, do I.
Seems like it's about to happen, and then you go, wait, what?
Oh, God, do I.
Said no to one thing because another thing was in the canon, and then that went away, and you're like, why the fuck did I say no to the first? Yes, a
I
nightmare.
know. God, like it's funny because you see it on every level. Like when you start comedy in New York City, there are definitely those guys that come up to you and they're like, "Hey, I booked this. You're great. Why don't you come down?" And then you go down and they just ghost you right to your face, and you're like, "You told me to come."
Yeah.
But it keeps it happens on every level. So like then you get to the TV level and you have people that are like, "You'd be great on the show," and then you never hear from them. You're like, "Why did you do that?"
At least it's not an end-all be-all. Like, I hear the stories from the Johnny Carson days or read the books about it, and you go, ugh, that really sucked because it was just one dude. It was one dude. And when Carson didn't want you back, like Jay Leno, like I guess his third set wasn't as strong, so Carson stopped booking him, and his career started to go down. It wasn't until Letterman saved Leno's career, which is amazing. And that sounds worse. So, like,
But I mean, they were both employed by Jimmy Walker. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Walker, who was very famous for Good Times at that, had them as writers.
That's amazing.
And now Jimmy Walker, and Letterman tried to help him, but it's like crazy. It's like I met him on a morning show I was working on, and he was very adamant and loud about the fact that he would not say dynamite unless you paid him like $20,000 or something crazy like that. And I'm like, good for him.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah,
Oh, all right.
Oh
we got some food coming out here. Chef Raph surprising us.
Oh, this is astounding.
I need you to tell me what you said you liked, like what you sent to me. If you remember, I have it on my phone.
Yeah, you might have to remind me, but I definitely said ramen. Ramen, I mean, I grew up with ramen as like my single divorced dad. That was the meal. It was ramen. So it's nostalgic for me too.
I love ramen. Baby carrots. And
carrots?
Eggs, scrambled in particular.
Oh, my
Did you
God.
stuff in your ramen?
Raph's response,
No.
baby carrots. What's wrong with this guy?
That is exactly what I said, yeah. That was a hilarious response.
My birthday dinner is definitely a big ramen thing or sushi, like a Nobu. No allergies. I'll eat practically anything. No, he won't. We just talked to him about what he'll eat. He will not eat practically anything. So what are we looking at? What is this? What's going on?
So anyway, what you have in front of you, I didn't want to make you a bowl of ramen to eat on a podcast. I feel like that would have been fucking weird. So I kind of gave you like an in-between of noodles with a bunch of ramen broth that has been like reduced down to kind of coat it. And you just have all of the things that would top a ramen, but they're inside of it. So...
Don't stand on precedent. Jump in. This is an
God,
eating podcast, pal.
Please eat it. Yeah. So it's the proteins in there, pork belly, and also veal cheeks. I wanted to wait.
Veal cheeks.
Wait till you took a bite.
What is a
before
veal cheek?
I waited till he took a bite before I told him.
What's a veal cheek?
The cheek of a veal, of a baby cow. This area.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, they're super tender and delicious.
Are they common in food?
Not really.
You only get so much per cow.
That's correct. Yeah, for baby cows actually. So
is it considered? But is it considered a good part?
It's cheeks are like synonymously the most tender part of any animal. So
I asked because the things my grandmother used to eat were always like the worst part of the animal. You know what I mean?
No, cheeks aren't.
Give me the giblets.
Like they're not like livers or kidneys. They're like very mild in taste and just super succulent and super soft. Because the animal uses its mouth a lot, so it's very tender.
Wow.
Delicious.
Yeah, so whenever my butcher has cheeks of any kind, I'll bounce on them. Pounce on them? I'll pounce on them.
How is it?
Amazing. It's astounding. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just kind of had this weird thing in my head where like listening to somebody slurp for 30 minutes would be fucking disgusting. So.
Oh no! This is actually this is what the show
why
is.
I didn't make it as brothy. It would just be a personal issue that I would have.
Yeah, I think ramen is just. I'm not a big for an Italian. I'm not really big into like if I'm gonna do pasta, it's gonna be ramen. There's just nothing better. I love it so much. I think just cup of noodles. I think for me, nostalgia with food is such a big part. Like just eating ramen, it's just what I did as a kid, and so there's something I think that adds to the meal.
I would definitely agree with you. I mean, food is, when you're eating something from your childhood, there's really nothing better than that, right? Because food is memories.
Yeah. Are you a big ramen guy?
Yeah. I mean, I never really ate it. So I never really ate it as a kid. I didn't really go to college, so I never had like the
cheap,
eat
like-
ramen phase.
Yeah.
I had like the eat dollar slice phase. So, there's that. But yeah, I don't know. I ate a lot of mozzarella sticks growing up.
Where's your butcher?
So Pino's Butcher, shout out to the boys. They're on Sullivan Street. It's on Sullivan and Houston. They've been around for like 120 years. They are incredible.
And that's right around the corner from the Comedy Cellar, who's a great sponsor of the podcast. They've been promoting and letting us shoot here and everything.
Yeah.
So you said like whenever he has Cheeks, are there like seasons for like, oh, this season is when Cheeks come in? Is it like you go there and it's random?
Nah, they have them like quite frequently. It's just a lot of people want them.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like if you tell your Italian relatives you ate veal cheek, they'd be very impressed. Mm-hmm. They'd be like, it's nice. You put a little mozzarella on it. Oh, goes good with a tongue sandwich.
Now, your meat guy, do you have to like give him a tip at the end of the year to stay as a favorite client? Like do you have a real? Is it a real like
move,
kind of
just a good move in general in every facet of life?
Of course,
Yeah.
but like, is it like a real like? Is it like a bartering thing? You say, "Come on, I need this help." Like, is it a real? Or is it very corporate? Like in a corporate,
It's
fill in a
not
checklist.
corporate at all. It's actually cash only, which is really strange. But they're
Italian.
They're just fucking. It's just like the highlight of my fuck day that I get to just go in there and just talk to lovely old Italian guys, or middle-aged Italian guys.
Yeah, it's like old school neighborhood vibe.
Yeah,
I like that.
they just fucking cut meat. That's their world. Like they don't, they're not like on Instagram. They're not like
They're not
doing
worried about
crazy shit. They just cut meat, go home to their houses, and I'm sure they have wonderful wives, and they go back and they cut meat. It's a great life.
So do they get the full cow? They're getting the full things.
Yeah. So they'll dry age. They have this like little dry age area in their basement, so they'll dry age their own stuff. It's just a great place. Like places like that are what makes New York restaurants great.
They sell steak there and stuff like that?
Yeah, they sell everything. They make their own sausage. Yeah, I could talk about that place for.
We're gonna have to go over there. We're gonna have to go over there. John, Marco, what's about your podcast? What's the deal with that?
So it's called The Downside. I have people on to talk about the downsides of their life. It's a place where I have people where they can feel free to complain and be negative and not tell me, well, I am grateful for this. They can just talk about the other shit. And we've had a lot of comedians, but we've really expanded to we had a mortician on. We had a chef who works at Butter. Michael Jenkins is his name. Cool. And, we get to talk about the downsides of working in a kitchen, the downsides of going to culinary school, the downsides of preparing a body. And I feel like it gives a place for people to really tell the stories that maybe don't make them look good, but in the space where I'm like, go for it. We're all fucking human.
What's the downside of comedy?
Oh my God, the downside of comedy.
Just one.
This is one of the upsides for getting to eat a free meal in the middle of the day.
This comes from touring so many clubs. You'd walk into a place and they'd be like, "Oh, you're the comic? Here's the menu, just to the left side." And you're like, "What? Oh, just mozzarella sticks. Just say that. Just say that. Don't."
I had a moment. I was working at a comedy club called City Steam Brewery in Connecticut.
I know it.
And I've worked it enough. I sell well for them. And it was one of those where they said, you can order anything but the salmon. And I'm a healthy boy. And I said, I'm getting the salmon. It was, and I've been there a lot. And I said, I'm getting the salmon or I'm not performing tonight. And I wouldn't do that everywhere. But I felt like I had gotten to that place where I was like, I'm not going to not order something off the menu. And I got it. And they asked me back, and I said, "Okay, that's the level I'm at."
Ludicrous situation.
But that's really why this podcast is doing so well and getting guests we're getting is because we're just giving comedians a little bit of respect.
Yeah,
what do you love?
Salmon
How do we make you feel
Definitely
good?
got the salmon.
And City Steam, yeah, I've played there a bunch. I was in Rhode Island at Catch a Rising Star. It was a dog track casino. I don't know if you've ever
Really?
Super
That's awesome.
Nah, no, it's not. No, it's really just
Wow.
who's betting on dogs?
Never bet on dogs before. I would 100%.
I was opening for Geraldo.
As long as they're racing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I opened for him a couple times.
My manager was his manager, Rick Dorfman.
Oh yeah.
And he tells me so many Geraldo, so he loved him.
We're playing there. I think it was one of the times Greg had just got out of rehab. Really nice. And the owners, they're like, "Hey, we got this great steakhouse right next door. Get whatever you want." And then, because I was opening, so they turned to me and they go, "You don't get anything." And Greg goes, what? Oh, okay. You eat my steak. I want you to order every steak on the menu, and I want you to eat it. And that's what he did.
Wow. Was he astounding comedically?
Yeah. The few times I worked with him, like he was also coming off of like rehab hiatuses, and he would always say, "Be like, I think you're gonna have to go long because I haven't done 45 minutes in 2 months, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to cover." He had no problem covering.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he was an interesting cat, man. Nice guy, like to have a good time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And one of his sons was working here at the Comedy Cellar for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's doing comedy now. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's started doing comedy.
What's his name?
It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Greg Giraldo.
Fuck yeah, I'll have to check him out.
Great comedy name.
Would you not want your kids to get into comedy?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go hard now.
I would immediately tell my kid to not become a chef. Absolutely.
Really?
100%. Yeah.
Why?
It's a terrible life, man. If you want to do it, if you want to like go balls deep into it, it's just a lot of hours, and
You'd be like, you're gonna have to make food for a no-name comedian at the Comedy Cellar.
That's the worst part. Yeah. This is the single-handed worst part of my career right now.
I would tell them go for it if they were funny.
Okay.
If they weren't funny, then that's my personal
you
nightmare.
can't.
It's your
like my
child, though.
girlfriend is not in comedy, but even if she was, she's very funny, and so I don't have to lie to her.
But you also can't gauge those things. You know what I mean? Like some people might be funny around other people and not funny around other
It's
people.
also your kid too, so it's like you're just gonna want them to be funny.
Sure,
So
but
you're
I think Richard Pryor, if he had been around, he would have told his son, "Don't go up at the Apollo. You're gonna get booed." You ever see that clip?
No, it's not fair because Don Rickles' kid is touring with his act. And
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that? She, from what I understand, not so good.
Does she get like, because Don Rickles got away with some pretty racist stuff because he was grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Does she get to inherit the allowed racism?
I mean, I suppose we could Google it, but
that's really funny. If
I would
she's like,
love to see a clip of that. That's incredible.
It's comedy's hard, man. You actually have to want to do it. You clearly want to do it. You're still
man.
so you're playing at the best comedy club in the world, the Comedy Cellar, and he's also playing at the worst comedy club in the world, LOL, in the same night.
I want to.
That is a sickness.
I want to make a book called "The Worst Comedy Club in the World." To do, I love oral history books where it's comprised of everyone just kind of their quotes, and you build the book out of that. And it would be about ha and LOL because I just feel like so many comedians went through
Dangerfields.
this.
I love Dangerfields for a lot of the wrong reasons. Like it was so classic, and all the waiters wore the red vests, and the audiences were always difficult. This just bring it back to food. When I got there at Dangerfields, when I finally passed, I think I was 29, and they were like, "Geez, you're the youngest one here," which I was by far.
So funny.
And they go, "Okay, so you get a meal, you get a hamburger, or whatever it is. You got to go downstairs and tip the cook $2." And I go, "Why $2?" They were very specific about that. They go, "Well, if you tip the cook was a Chinese guy named Lau. If you tip him more than $2, you're going to make us all look bad. So don't give him more than $2. And if you don't tip him $2, he's going to use the bad meat." And I go, "Why is there bad meat?" Like,
I was about to say that.
What?
Yeah, why
Should
is
there be
bad
no?
meat?
Why is there bad? Why is there?
And do they get to put, like, if a customer's shitty, like a little mark on the ticket to be like, give them the bad meat? Fuck
I
these
don't
guys.
know. I hope they were just lying to me, but like, it was.
It seems unnecessary, and yeah.
I went to Dangerfields when I was like fucking 13, 14, 15, and I would do anything to know what comics I saw.
What year?
I got to look it up, but I think I was 15, so that would have been, 2003, 2004.
I wasn't working there at that time.
I just remember, and there's an age, there's a magical age to see stand-up comedy, and I think at least for a boy, it's like you're a teenager and you can't believe they're saying these things on stage. I saw Ralphie May when I was 15.
So probably Steve Marshall. Also, he would have been there.
Oh, yeah?
Steve was the guy who would do an hour at the end of every show. Steve Marshall, probably JJ Ramirez.
Probably JJ. Now that you say that, who I work with now, and at LOL. But I remember seeing Ralphie May at 15. He had a long bit about just different fingering techniques. And at that age, like, that was the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my entire fucking life.
I saw Russ Maneve at Caroline's, and he was so good. He had this joke about these sharks are getting uppity, huh? Because you read in the paper every day, unprovoked shark attack. Do we need the word unprovoked? Like there's a guy in the Jersey Shore just like, hey, Shark, you looking at me? I got something you could bite on. So I'm killing. That's Russ Manif's joke,
that's
but
great.
yeah, like it was just so good.
Yeah, it's just amazing to, you think about it now where you're like, yeah, if there's lineups now that anyone can see for cheap, and one day it'll be like, who was on it? Whoa.
Dangerfields to me was always a bridge and tunnel crowd. Very Brooklyn, Bronx, very New York, tough.
Uh-huh.
I remember one night I was picking on a guy in the front, and I got off, and he got up to follow me out, and I really thought he was going to hit me. And he goes, hey, he gives me $50. He goes, no one ever talks to me like that. I go,
That's so funny. That's him like finding out that he likes to be, he's into that.
yeah, but it was a wild club, like they didn't have bouncers.
Oh, yeah.
That seems dangerous.
Oh, but neither does L. I mean,
How many clubs besides the Cellar do?
New York Comedy Club seems to do a pretty good job with it, but so many clubs don't have.
Now they don't.
bouncers.
They used to.
Where is LOL? and-
Stand Up New
and
York doesn't,
what
I don't
is-
think.
What is LOL?
No.
It's like Hell's Kitchen now.
Yeah, now it's 46th Street between 8th and 9th, and it's just a bar. You walk in and the showroom's right.
Oh, it's on 40. It's Restaurant Row. Mm-hmm. Because that's where the original Ha was between 8th and 9th on 46th, and then they moved to Times Square, and then it became LOL, and I guess they're just moving back.
I guess so. I wish they went back. I just like the time, man. Because
I got to tell you, Raph, you were killing it, dude. Every comic cleans the bowl.
it's amazing.
Thank you, sir. That's what we're here to do.
If you want more, knock yourself out, man.
You sure?
Yeah. I gotta do this movie thing later.
I'd love to see that. Yeah, Ryan just has a bite or two, and he's actually watching his figure.
Oh yeah.
But I used to be 320 pounds, so I gotta fight the good fight. But I also have
great.
to. I gotta go do a warm up in a few minutes, and like you can't.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I cannot eat. I gotta go work.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm on all sorts of opioids. It just doesn't.
You too.
Doesn't.
You as well.
Well, let's plug some stuff so we can get you out of here. You got a tasting to go to. What else are you doing? You have your podcast. You're obviously performing, headlining LOL. We need to make sure that you can be seen here at the Comedy Cellar. What else you got going on?
I'm going on tour. I mean, I'm all over the country. So just find me on Instagram at Gianmarco Soresi. I'm touring every weekend. And next year's filling up too, so just check me out.
He's a funny dude. He's one of the few comedians that you go, all right, he can play any position. He can open, he can close, always brings a show, always working on material, really, truly loves comedy.
You can find me at Chef Raph NYC on the social media platforms, and my company is Something Good Hospitality. It's somethinggood.nyc is our Instagram, and somethinggoodhospitality.com is our website. Feel free to DM or reach out to us on the website to book an event.
Yeah, my name's Ryan Reiss. You can find me at RR Comedy on Instagram. This is The Cheat Day Show, The Cheat Day Show on all platforms. Always every Monday at the Comedy Cellar, but here pretty regularly. And cheat well, guys. Enjoy your meals. Later.
Thanks for listening to the Cheat Day Show podcast. To learn more about our show, the hosts, the comedians, our guests, our chefs, and more, visit our website, thecheatdayshow.com. Also, follow along with us on our social media at The Cheat Day Show on Instagram and Twitter. Future episodes can be found in all the places you get your favorite podcast. Our show is also sponsored by the world-famous Comedy Cellar on McDougal Street in New York City's Greenwich Village. Visit ComedyCellar.com for show lineups happening 7 days a week. Later, cheaters.